What is up, everybody? We're rolling audio here today on episode 45 of The Harder Show. How you doing? I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic weekend so far. Thank you so much for letting me come into your home, your car, your place of business, come to the gym with you, whatever you're doing while you listen to this podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. You know how much I appreciate it. Virtual fist bump. Yeah, virtual fist bump. Well, technically, I guess it would be an audio fist bump. Whatever. I digress. If you guys could tell, I'm in a very good mood because last night was seriously awesome. And the reason it was seriously awesome was because we went to the myself and the Harder Show wrestling panel, the heel Ryan Wood, the gimmick Brandon Bowden, and myself, as well as a bunch of other guys, went to the WWE SummerSlam Tour Heatwave show, whatever the hell it was called, in Oshawa last night, and it was a blast. It was the first time I was ever at a live wrestling event, so I had so much fun. Oh my god, I just loved it. We ended up getting box seats. It was just... oh, guys, it was so much fun. I had an absolute blast last night getting to see such guys as AJ Styles, The Club, which are three of my favorite guys right now. Got to see them live. Sheamus, Apollo Crews, obviously Dean Ambrose was there, which was sick. Seth Rollins, Cesaro, Titus O'Neil, Social Outcasts. Charlotte was there, of course. Natalia. Lots of awesome matches. We are probably going to do a little review podcast on it, myself and the wrestling panel, just because it was so much fun. Definitely probably going to do something on it next week. Maybe talk a little about some wrestling or whatever. Just because I'm going to be in a wrestling mood the next couple of weeks, probably. So I will. I apologize in advance, guys, if the next couple podcasts are strictly wrestling based, but I am just on too much of a cloud nine of a wrestling right now. And before we headed out to the wrestling show, myself and Mr. Brandon Bowden sat down to talk a little bit about a very interesting match that happened last week. Well, as I record this, it was still this week, but July 5th. And that match was the Final Deletion match between Jeff Hardy, a.k.a. Brother Nero, and Broken Matt Hardy. Now, this match has the internet basically abuzz still quite a few days later. As I record this, it is Saturday evening, and we recorded this Friday, and you guys listen to it Sunday. So people are still talking about it, and it's still a thing, and there's a lot of internet jokes and stuff like that about it, but at the end of the day, if you guys have not actually sat down and watched the Final Deletion match between Jeff and Matt Hardy, you need to do it. Watch the director's cut. You can find it on YouTube, on TNA's YouTube channel. Sit through the intro. The kind of segments in that and in the beginnings, I liked everything because I get it. But if you think it's really cheesy in the beginning, give it some time. Because the actual match they have it's something you'll never see, you've never seen before. Very cool. I'm not going to talk about much else about it because we talk about it in this podcast here. Not as long. We recorded this, like I said, just kind of before we were leaving. So we, of course, we're kind of in a bit of a hurry. So this one was a little more rushed than I would have liked. But halfway up, just about near the end of the podcast, we were about half an hour in, and of course we had an interruption by the heel Ryan Wood. Which is just hilarious because that's the second time he's done that now. Except for this time, I didn't input the Bret Hart's theme music. He just kind of did it himself with his phone. So we hear his thoughts on the match as well. So definitely interesting if you guys have seen the match and you're curious about my thoughts on it and that. In all, I actually enjoyed the whole thing, and you will hear about it in just a moment. But first, I want to give a great big shout out to my man, Mr. Jason Reese, over at the Jaybird Digital Arts. You guys know how awesome his stuff is. You guys know I talk about it all the time on the podcast, how great his stuff is, how great he is, blah, 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 blah. But what you guys may not know is that not only has he done all my logos and banners and things like that for Facebook and for the live cast and Instagram and all that kind of bullshit, but he also was the guy who designed my t-shirt that I put up for pre-order a couple days ago, which I am still taking pre-orders for. I'm probably going to for few more days, and then I'll probably place the order. So if you are interested in that, be sure to let me know immediately. I accept cash or e-transfers. If you are someone local, especially, I would prefer that. Obviously, if I have to ship the t-shirt out to you, I have to ship it out to you. We'll figure it out. But depending on how much the shipping is, I might ask you to ship in a little bit for shipping. It depends. We'll see what happens. But Jason did that shirt, and it's awesome. It's been such an easy shirt to sell because the design is awesome. So if you guys need anything like that, any kind of digital art, he does so much other stuff too on his personal Facebook. I've seen that he does a zombie a day thing or zombie a week thing, and it's really, really cool. He's just a really creative, talented dude. Good guy as well. Be sure to check him out on the Facebook as well, Jaybird Digital Arts. You can find him on the web at www.jaybird, that's Jaybird, digitalarts.ca. Very, very awesome. And that's that. I try not to make my plugs the same every single time. So, but without further ado, guys, I got nothing else to ramble on about here. So we are going to get into this Final Deletion podcast discussion with the gimmick Brandon Bowden and a bit of a run-in near the end by the heel Ryan Wood. Let's get into it. So I'm sitting in the basement of your Average Noob Studios, and I am joined by one half of my esteemed wrestling panel of experts.
Something like that.
Something like that. He's feeling a little under the weather today, but we are actually just preparing in just about an hour or so to head out to the WWE Heatwave show.
Yeah, the SummerSlam Heatwave Tour live event.
In Oshawa. We're going to be heading out there just a little bit. Of course, I'm joined by the gimmick Brandon Bowden.
What's going on?
The producer of The Hotter Show. And I am TJ Holler.
Who doesn't do very much or anything or anything like
that. Except for everything. I gotta.
That was funny. I heard that on the podcast with Garrett. I popped hard.
It's pretty funny. But before we headed out, and I'm sure we'll do a podcast on the Heatwave show. I'm sure we'll get to that.
We'll have to get the heel involved.
Oh yeah, the heel will get involved. We'll maybe have the Mark as well.
Yes,
but he doesn't like that name. He doesn't want to do it. So
that's exactly why he's a Mark.
Exactly. So, anyway, folks, we are here today to talk about something very specific. It's something that has the wrestling world buzzing right now.
Still
has the wrestling world
buzzing. This is the first time that anybody's talked about TNA Impact, like 3 days after TNA Impact.
Yeah, and it's really cool. I think we both like it.
I loved it.
I loved it as well. And if you guys don't know what we're referring to, we are referring to, of course, the Hardy versus Hardy match.
The Final Deletion.
The Final Deletion. With one Brother Nero, Jeff Hardy.
Well, now he's not Jeff Hardy anymore.
What is he?
He's not. I don't know what he is now.
Oh, we'll find out.
Exactly. But did you see what happened to his Twitter account?
No.
Matt hacked into his Twitter account and changed his profile picture to like a black square.
Nice. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, if you go into his Twitter, Jeff Hardy's like profile picture's in a black square.
Keeping
Matt Hardy's
kayfabe alive.
They're definitely living and dying by the storyline of this angle.
And that's the great thing about it. Of course, we're talking about the Final Deletion match, Jeff Hardy versus one broken Matt Hardy. Just right off the bat, I have had so many people ask me about this match. I'm sure you have too, Brandon. So many people ask, wondering what my thoughts were on it, because they all know that I'm a huge Matt Hardy fan. And they say, dude, this match, it was so stupid. What the hell? Like, what is going on? They need to retire. Freaking Matt Hardy makes no sense. Blah, 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 blah. Let me explain something to you, kids. The character that Matt Hardy is portraying right now as broken Matt Hardy, everyone's like, what does that even mean, broken Matt Hardy? That's stupid. Is it like an emo gimmick or something or whatever? I'm like, no, he's literally broken. There is some screws missing in his head. The character he is playing is a look inside the friggin' messed up mind of Matt Hardy as he has snapped and lost it. And everything that happened, the friggin' segments with the drones and all this kind of stuff, this is all from the mind of Matt Hardy.
Even
and
before
it's a scary
that,
place.
too. Like, if you were watching TNA before, like, all this came to, like, I guess a conclusion. I don't know if it's actually going to be concluding, but like Matt was doing some weird stuff like leading up to it too. Like he dressed up as Willow and was terrorizing Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
Which is like really weird. And like he had his like he would come out as Willow and they'd have like a voice changer going through the microphone and whatnot, and he'd be like, "Oh, you did this, Jeff. You know, you never." And then he took off the Willow mask. And it was Matt Hardy. Didn't know at the time, and it was Matt Hardy. He's like, "You never loved me." You know, it's like he's been like really playing this like whole angle really, really well. I think he's actually like living this angle. I think he's
well, they are.
He's allowed to just be insane for a while.
And that's the thing is, it's like
when you dye your hair white for an angle.
Matt Hardy is living and breathing this angle, and that was the first kind of point I wanted to make, was the fact that the character itself of broken Matt Hardy is awesome, and anyone who thinks otherwise, I think they're missing the point.
Yeah,
people are this is gimmick wrestling storyline, not a serious wrestling storyline. I don't think this storyline is meant to be taken so seriously.
No,
like,
I think
seriously, in the sense of like you almost want to be like, oh my god, like that's brutal. This is uncomfortable at times because it's so.
But you can't take it that seriously. It's
exactly.
TNA's been chasing WWE for so long that like they've fallen so far behind that they've actually kind of. It looks like they've taken a different road, being like so outlandish that it's good.
It is bringing more attention to that company than that company has had, in my opinion, in years.
Yeah,
years and years. And even though, you know, there's all those videos of people, like, making fun of it, and there's pictures of, you know, Matt Hardy on the lawnmower.
That is that will go down in wrestling history as one of the great things, I think. Just Matt Hardy on a lawnmower.
Matt Hardy on a lawnmower just with his arms
ruining Jeff Hardy's crop circles or whatever. Designs in the grass.
Just amazing stuff. Hilarious stuff. If you don't, like, I think it was the What Culture guys. They made the video. They all just, like, have their hands in their head the entire time. And I'm like, guys, like, you're missing the point.
See, but for everybody who doesn't like it, like the What Culture guys, there's a lot of people that really actually do like it.
And what's hilarious is Chris Jericho, Jim Ross. From what I heard, those guys were praising it.
Yeah, because like, it's so unique. It's unlike anything that we've seen before. And the What Culture guys are more like, I think, if you've watched their wrestling promotion yet, you they're very old school, and they're almost like too old school to
pretty lame sometimes.
Kind of like grasp.
Yeah,
they're kind of too old school minded to grasp what we're thinking of here. They want more. They went back to the Attitude Era. Like the Attitude Era was this kind of outlandish stuff, but they went back like to the Attitude Era, but like with all the serious stuff going on with it. I'm like, okay, but you can't take yourself that seriously. It's just people see right through it. And this is TNA being like, no, we're not taking this seriously, but we just want to entertain you. And it's like that.
Exactly.
Hey, like,
guys, let us. You want entertainment. You want something different.
And Matt Hardy's being so serious. He's funny. Like.
It's like the only thing I have to say I was really kind of about was the whole like birthday party thing at the beginning, and the only reason why
is that his actual wife.
Yeah, Rebby and his son. Oh. That's the only reason why is like because it comes in and it's like they're like having a birthday party and it's like it would have been funnier. I think it would have been funnier to me if Matt Hardy was like, but I guess that's kind of the point. Like he was almost like. He's like selling it to his family, like, because in the first video thing, it was like Rebby was leaving because she was like, I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
But then it comes back and she's like with him and she doesn't care. So I was kind of like I don't know what like, but he's like talking about this and that, and he's like, oh yes, and King Maxwell will take the Hardy throne, and then friggin' we see Senor Benjamin.
He's pretty much the star of
he's
this
now
whole
over
thing.
He's over.
Oh, Senor Benjamin.
Like Senor Benjamin's over. And everyone's like, it's like Rebby's dad. And I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Pretty much the next Mitch the Plant for TNA, you know? Like, he is Mitch the Plant. He's Mitch the Plant over with TNA.
He is going to trim Mitch the Plant. Because he specializes in multiple things.
Yes, he's a gardener.
He specializes in weeding, gardening, and massacre. and the fucking I'm sitting there watching this like, and I think I Snapchatted you, which by the way you can follow me on Snapchat. Just search at Terrence James.
Shameless plug.
Fancy transition back in. I'm not Garrett Cole, so I can't do it. But what was I talking about? Oh yes. So I'm sitting there watching this, and like for the first bit, yes, there are moments where I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, this is kind of lame. But then I kind of shut my brain off for a second.
That's exactly what you have to do.
I just thought of this as purely from a entertainment. I didn't think of this as this whole. Everyone's like, well, that's not wrestling.
You have to suspend your beliefs, almost, sort of thing. Be like, I'm just gonna watch this for what it is. It's entertainment, and then
exactly.
And it's around that time where Jeff Hardy starts attacking drones,
and it's like, okay. But before that, the fucking
excuse me,
moment that got me, and like I started laughing, and then from that moment on, I was like, okay, I'm just shutting down completely, like in a good way. Was Senor Benjamin's like, I have gift for Mr. Maxwell or whatever, and Matt opens it up, and it's like this little xylophone toy, and he's like, oh yes, it is a xylophone. Like he's like selling this xylophone. It's like the best gift ever, and I'm like, oh my,
exactly. That's not hard. He's selling a xylophone to the people.
Yes, a glorious xylophone, and I'm like, oh my god, and I love it. And then Jeff Hardy's like doing his crop circles, and he goes inside and is playing guitar, and then fucking the drones show up, and I'm like, no, this is guitar actually player, happening.
How did you like his skills? It looks like he had never touched the guitar before.
Yeah. Well, that's the messed up part. I know Jeff Hardy does play a little bit of guitar.
Yeah, and he just didn't look like he was comfortable with what he was doing there. But he's kind of like uncomfortable.
That's what it is. Yeah. The whole entire time I've been watching this, Jeff Hardy didn't look comfortable at all.
I know, but I think that
in a good way.
Exactly. I think that brings more to the storyline because he's not supposed to be comfortable because his brother's got insane, and he's stalking him, and he just sent drones to his house, which one of them has a hologram of Matt Hardy,
and it is Vanguard 1.
I did not catch that until you told me.
Yeah.
V1 drone with Matt Hardy's
It was like Vanguard 1. I'm like, no, take that WWE. And like. He's hitting the drones with the guitar, and then he's like chasing it on his dirt bike, and then it just pans back to Matt Hardy on a lawnmower, and he's just like, Brother Nero is not the only landscaper in the family, and he sounds like Jamaican for some reason in that moment.
That's the thing. His accent kept changing.
Oh, dude, his accent was. That thing is like most people are like, okay, like Matt Hardy can't act, he can't do accents. Why is he doing this? This is a horrible segment, and I'm like, listen. The accent was clearly not meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And if it was, then okay, sure. But, dude, his accent, he's trying to intimidate, he's trying to, portray, 6 different cultures in one accent.
I think it's just a Matt Hardy accent.
Yeah, it's Matt Hardy if he had an accent. What accent is it? It's a Matt Hardy accent. It is a Matt Hardy accent.
What's the word I'm looking for here? He's like channeling his inner I've been beaten over the head so many times Matt Hardy, and that's what's coming out.
And that's the thing is everyone's like, okay, so Matt Hardy's gone insane. No. He hasn't gone insane. Insane is like someone like Dean Ambrose or who's another insane person? Someone else who's insane. Matt Hardy, this version of Matt Hardy, this broken Matt Hardy, he is batshit crazy. One too many chair shots to the head, and he's just delirious. The character, I remember hearing this, Matt Hardy said this years ago. The character that Matt Hardy is now, I think is the character he wanted Matt Hardy V1 to be originally. This just delusional, character who just, he fancies himself a legit god.
I think Matt Hardy always got to play, not always, but for the most part, when he was on his own, he always got to be a chance to be delusional, just not to this pulled
This is literally, the Hardys you can tell they're doing this all themselves.
This is
they're funding this all themselves.
TNA's let them go. They said, go do whatever you want, and they just pulled off some magic.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, with the party angle on that, and, comes in and, Senor Benjamin's, standing, and he's just like, Senor Benjamin, prepare the battlefield. And I'm like, I didn't know what was going to happen. So I'm like, prepare the battlefield? What the hell is he talking about?
He brought that jerry can of gasoline?
Yeah.
I have brought the gasoline from last night's escapades. I'm like,
what happened last night? It almost gives you more questions. And,
And he brings in the box of fireworks. It's like,
yeah.
What?
I was like, what is going to happen? And then I saw the ring, and I'm like, okay.
Why was there citronella candles all over the place?
Why not?
Was it bad with, maybe it was really bad with mosquitoes. There was, a pond next to it.
No. And that's the thing, is, when you look at the actual before match, Jeff was perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff was literally as perfect if Jeff Hardy needed to be. He didn't say a whole lot. He's just like, oh, hell no. He's just pissed off, and he's sick of it. You can tell he's just sick of it, and he plays that role perfectly.
Matt Hardy's taking the vocal lead on this feud, but Jeff's taking the ring lead, basically.
Oh, which that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And, you pan to Matt Hardy in the friggin' ring, and he's like, you know, the referee, are you a licensed official? And like the ref's just like, what the fuck is going on?
I give a lot of credit for the ref, whichever ref they sent to do that too. He had like a really good, like, what the fuck did I walk into look going on.
He had really good facials the entire match. He was just like, what is going on? Because it's like, you look at the setup and everyone's like, so like, is this a hardcore match? Like, what is this?
No, this is just two brothers. This is a backyard.
This is a backyard wrestlers. Just what you fucking said. Backyard. I was literally about to repeat you.
Backyard wrestlers' wet dream.
It started in the backyard,
yep.
And the whole thing was it was going to end in the backyard.
Yep.
And we look at how, and also, I friggin' loved the music throughout this whole segment.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Very daunting.
Matt Hardy's just facial expressions in general during the whole thing, but in the beginning, like when he's in the ring and he has his violin, he's like, I will now play this violin to summon Brother Nero. And like, it's just like,
he just summons Jeff with a violin. I'm like, I kind of wish he had summoned it with Maxwell's xylophone.
Yeah, because that would have been funnier. But like, I'm sitting there. Yeah, and like he starts playing the violin, and like you can tell like he has no idea what's going on. He's just
actually, what would have been funny if like he took the xylophone and just started playing like the Hardy Boys song from WWE. and there's the cease and desist from WWE.
Yeah. Now mailing the Final Deletion. That's. And like, you know, Jeff shows up and he just has this look on his face like, what the fuck? And he's just like, Brother Nero, I knew you'd come. It's like, and Jeff just has this look on his face like, of course I'd come, you fucking idiot. Like, we're having a match. And like, it starts there. And the actual match itself, because we do have to talk about the actual match.
Yeah.
The whole thing felt like an action movie. It did not feel like a wrestling match.
You know what it kind of reminded me of? Like it kind of reminded me of like Lucha Underground. Mm-hmm. I've watched a lot of Lucha Underground. They do like it doesn't feel like wrestling sometimes when you're watching Lucha Underground. It feels like almost like a cinematic experience where you're watching a movie sort of thing. But it was TNA made it their own thing. They didn't copy anything Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
They just made it their own thing. And the match was really, really weird though, because like, I guess we're so conditioned to watch wrestling matches now with crowd noise that watching that match with absolutely no crowd noise, you hear every little like thump, step, every little bump,
and all of the facials from both of them, the ring sounds they make, the grunts and the groans and all that shit. It was perfect. The ref kind of going a couple times, and the actual wrestling itself. I mean, it's Matt and Jeff Hardy, so it was flawless. Any wrestling maneuvers that were performed were flawless.
And you knew there was gonna be high spots, but I did not know he was gonna like. Once I saw him look at the tree, I'm like, you're not.
Yeah, but like
you're not gonna go to that tree.
Mm-hmm. But like before that, during the entire match, I had this feeling kind of come over me, like halfway through the match, but just before the tree spot, I'm looking, going, it's dark. The torches and all that, and like the seminole, that was all for a lighting effect because they had to have it just light enough. But I could tell they didn't want to have any artificial lights. And I'm sitting there going, I feel this feeling of like desperation and despair.
Yeah,
and it was
really set a mood
a couple times.
It really.
And I'm like, I'm watching this, and then like, you know, right on cue as I'm feeling that, Matt Hardy like starts biting him.
Yeah,
and like you can tell, and like Jeff has his face. He's just like, what the hell are you doing? Like you're biting me. Like it was beautiful. And you know the use of the weapons in that, like it was perfect. There was nothing.
Literally weapons.
They
were launching fireworks at each other.
But like when they're sitting there and then they do the tree spot, and I'm sitting there going, okay, like Jeff Hardy's not jumping off that fucking tree. There is no way that Jeff Hardy is going to climb up that tree. He's climbing up a tree. There's no way Jeff Hardy's going to do a swanton. He just did a swanton off a tree. I'm like, there's no way it's going to happen. And then sure enough, fucking Jeff Hardy does a swanton off a tree. Mind you, through an actual ladder.
Yeah.
What else can you say about that? Like, he does a swanton through a ladder. I think Matt got out of the way a little too soon.
Yeah.
That was the only spot in the match where I was kind of like, what the hell just happened? But it was good.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I'm sitting there going, and then, you know, Matt was just like, like he's like selling it perfectly. And the thing is Matt was selling, but he wasn't selling like Matt Hardy normally sells. Say that's 6 times too fast. And I'm sitting there going, okay. You can tell Matt Hardy is like, he's in pain right now, but like he's still crazy.
Yeah.
And Jeff's just doing it, and Jeff's aggressive, and the punches they were throwing, like those fuckers were connecting. They were throwing some potatoes.
I think they wanted to, though. I think they wanted to be almost as authentic as possible without, you know, killing each other.
Yeah. And it's like, we're sitting there and it's all good and it's cool. And then, like, you know, they get out of the ring and they're fighting more and they're fighting more. And there was, like, that weird, like, plant tree board thing that he slammed.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. I think it was like a tree. You know how they have the barbed wire tables?
Yeah.
I think it was that, but with tree branches and shit.
Yeah, it was different. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And I'm sitting there watching that, and then, you know, they get out of the ring and all this stuff's going on, and then fucking one of the best spots of the night, one of the weirdest, most different, but best spots I've ever seen in a wrestling match now. Fucking Matt Hardy pulls out a bunch of firecrackers.
Yeah.
And Justice like, are you insane? Brother Nero! And he starts shooting off firecrackers at Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy gets like a trash can and there's like block, and he's just like, and like I'm sitting there going, this is literally a choreographed action film. Mm-hmm.
But it just happens to be on TNA.
And right at that exact moment, I immediately stopped thinking of it as a wrestling match. Because I was like, that's it for wrestling. There's probably going to be no more wrestling this entire match. And I'm sitting there doing it, and I'm like, damn, like, firecrackers are going off. I'm like, there's no way those are real firecrackers. And then I actually looked closely, and I'm like, those are real. He's literally shooting firecrackers at his brother. Yeah. Like a machine gun. And it was friggin' hilarious. And people were like, it was stupid, it was gimmick, like, that would never happen in any other promotion, blah, 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 blah. That's not real wrestling. And I'm like, exactly, guys. Like, holy crap.
People say, oh, it wasn't a real good wrestling match. It wasn't a wrestling match. It was just two brothers fighting in a backyard.
And that's the point. It was, the whole thing, I was like, well, like, why was it the Final Deletion? Like, why, like...
Because Matt Hardy wanted to delete Jeff Hardy from the family altogether.
Yes. You couldn't have had a regular wrestling match, so it was what it was. After the fireworks, the smoke that settled was friggin' awesome. I really liked the fact that happened, because I'm sitting there going, damn, like, now it's like even smokier, and it literally looked and felt like a battlefield.
Yeah. Because
I was like, this has been war. I'm glad the match in the ring wasn't any longer.
No, it was just
long enough. It was like, you know, you saw some wrestling, you saw a couple Twist of Fates and a Swanton
and Twist of Hate.
Twist of Hate, excuse me. Yes, I don't want them to get sued. Twist
of Fate. They still have Twist of Fate for Jeff Hardy, but Matt Hardy calls it the Twist of Hate.
Oh, I thought Jeff called his a Twist of Hate too.
No, I think.
I was wrong. Well, there you go. I was wrong, folks. It happens sometimes. But it's great, and then Matt says, Brother Nero, and he's like walking on looking for him, and then all you see is Matt's face, and he's all like, has this, and he's just like, oh shit, and like he has his normal voice for it. Yeah. And Jeff gets up and he's like, yeah, you're right, oh shit, and he starts launching fireworks at him, and like for a second he broke character, and it was perfect. Like for a second you saw the Matt Hardy kind of, oh shit, and friggin' he starts running, and I'm like, okay, like how's he gonna get out of this? How in the hell is he going to come back from that? And then he hides behind a fucking boat. And I'm like, classic heel. Yeah. I'm going to hide behind a boat. Whereas Jeff Hardy was standing with a trash can lid, and he's like, I'm going to get you, you bastard. Matt Hardy jumps under a boat, and he's just like sitting there, and comes out and throws him in the water, and they're kind of fighting, and they're fighting, and then they go in the water, and Matt comes out, and I'm like, oh, like, what happened to Jeff? I'm like, oh, did he like choke him out in the water or something?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, and then
all of a sudden, fucking Willow comes out of nowhere. Ah! And like, I
love that laugh. I can't even do it, but oh, it's so good.
And like he like attacks him. He's like, hey, Matt. Like I didn't catch what he said.
I just love the Willow character itself.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing is that's probably where they're gonna go from here.
They have to, I think they meant to revive Willow just so now it's Willow Matt Hardy.
Yeah, and that's going to be ridiculous. Yeah. Because there was the Final Deletion, Jeff Hardy's gone. But we'll get to that in a second. We'll speculate in a bit here. But the fact that they're kind of fighting and still choking each other out and stuff, and then friggin' Senor Benjamin comes with a taser.
Yep.
And I'm like, that needed to happen. I wanted to see Senor Benjamin do... And it was Senor Benjamin, not Senor Benjamin. I noticed he kept calling him Senor Benjamin. And I'm like...
Senior Benjamin.
Senior Benjamin. And I'm like, damn. It was really, really good. I liked it. The taser spot. I know I read somewhere. Someone was like, that was like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Blah, 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 blah. It made no sense that Willow was there. Like, everyone knew
it made perfect sense, because that way when Willow was taken out, Matt Hardy pinned Willow, and then he takes out the mask,
and it's Senor Benjamin. That fake out. Because you see him laying on the ground, and I'm like, that's not Jeff Hardy.
No.
But Matt, the delusional Matt, oh yes, I've won, and then he did, Senor Benjamin, and like he has that slight concern in his voice, but then immediate anger. So he's like, shit, I didn't win. Mm-hmm. So then he goes and friggin' they're fighting, and he puts him in a sleeper.
Yeah.
Matt passes out, and I'm like, oh shit. And I see that giant Hardy Boy symbol.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there is no way. This is me. There's no way Jeff Hardy's going to jump off of that. He's climbing it. There's no way he's going to jump off of that. He's positioning himself. He'll do a splash. There's no way he's doing a fucking swanton bomb off that. And then, of course...
But he didn't end up falling off it, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, no, he didn't even do it, actually. Yeah, my mistake.
Matt Hardy, did something and he fell off of it?
Yeah. I don't remember what he did. I think he just, hit it.
But I think it's safe to presume Jeff Hardy was going to swanton.
Oh, yeah.
Off of that.
What I was saying is, I'm sitting there watching that, and I'm like, okay, so Jeff Hardy's going to win. And I wrote on my little notes here, I wrote, that final swanton.
Well,
and then I crossed it out.
That's what I thought, too. I'm like, Jeff Hardy's going to win by swantoning off this giant Hardy Boys logo.
Mm-hmm. And then friggin' he falls, and then, well, you know what it was, is Matt lit the fire.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot
about that. Because it was like, it cut to the scene, it's like, this candle will be extinguished when Brother Nero.
And then they started doing all the flashbacks, which that's where it was kind of like, okay, this is really weird. And then they started doing all those flashbacks and going through but it was kind of like a culmination of the whole storyline coming full circle. I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of like it. This is like where they conclude. And then that's where I knew, I'm like, Matt has to win.
Yeah. Second I saw it, I was like, that's it, Matt's winning. And I didn't see that happening. I was like, there's no way Matt's going to win this whole feud. Yeah. I'm like, there's no way. That's why we know the feud's not over yet. There's no way it is. But, one thing, Matt wins. I totally didn't see that coming.
I'm not a big fan of the finish, just the way he fell and he pinned him. I would have liked another twist of hate, just into the sand or into the dirt, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then just finish him off like that, but...
Little things. There was a couple little things with the match that maybe could have been different. But as a whole, the Final Deletion segment, because I don't want to call it a match.
Yeah. The
Final Deletion segment by the Hardy Boys was one of the most unique things you will ever see. I personally think it's one of the best things I've seen in wrestling in a while.
It was just so unique. We've never seen anything like it.
And I'm just like, this is truly unique.
Yeah.
It was good, and it was... I have a feeling we'll see more segments like that.
Yeah, hopefully they're spread out, though, because we don't want to see them try to, because I feel like TNA is going to be like, oh, this went over well, let's do it again and again and again. And, next thing we know, Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, or Willow and Matt Hardy, are fighting on some sort of, aircraft carrier in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And the first one to get dumped
And you know
off
what? That wouldn't even surprise me. It's like, you see Matt sitting there, yo, Jeff, I have this idea again. We're going to fight on an aircraft carrier in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
You mean the Pacific? No, the Pacific Ocean.
The Pacific Ocean.
The Pacific Ocean. We are on this aircraft carrier in the Pacific Ocean.
How long can Matt be broken, though?
That's the thing, too. Is, do I want to see... Because I feel like Matt's running out of gas. Yeah. I don't know how much longer Matt Hardy, the person, can continue wrestling. If this is the last character and segment we're going to see from Matt Hardy... it will kind of bum me out.
Yeah.
But I don't see how Matt's going to come back from this and be a face again and not be this character. How do you come back from that? And that's, it's like at the end of the whole segment, it's like, friggin' Matt wakes up. He's like, I was friggin' something happened and I was on drugs or whatever. And it's like, but
weird. He was just overdosed on LSD and he's just coming out of it now.
Losing. Or someone poised, friggin' gave him drugs or something. Rebby gave him drugs so he went crazy. I don't know, something stupid like that. And then the heart, something like that. But
it's an interesting storyline to think of where it's going to end up, though.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we can both predict the fact that now that since Jeff Hardy was pinned and is quote unquote deleted.
Yeah.
Deleted. We'll probably see.
I guess we have to see Willow.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Jeff Hardy for a while.
No.
But I bet you, when does TNA air again?
Actually, it's moving to Thursdays because now that SmackDown's moving live on
I heard
Thursdays.
y'all got left behind on Thursdays. It's that was good. That was good. I like that because they're not going to try and go up against WWE on Tuesdays.
There's no way they could have done it.
Yeah. Holy shit. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to get copyrighted claim for this again. But, ladies and
Did you
gentlemen,
actually get copyright?
yeah, we have an interference in the podcast again for the second time ever.
That clips are fair use.
Yeah, no, literally, I got a copyright claim.
Well, they can go to hell because that's my song. I
Yeah.
fucking wrote it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by the heel, Ryan Wood.
Oh,
I was
thanks.
wondering what you were doing at the door there for so long. Why did you just walk in?
Advertisement problems.
Advertisement, ladies and gentlemen. So, Ryan, we just got done talking about the Final Deletion segment. Did you see it?
I'm trying to forget it as best as possible.
No, see, now listen.
Which
It's like a great LSD trip.
Yeah, quickly
you
give your...
you taught me about the Hardy deletion when I looked into it. Funny.
Did you watch the director's cut?
No, I try not to.
Yeah, okay, so we just got finished watching the Final Deletion match again with one Brother Wood here, who never saw the match. He was talking shit about it. So, Ryan, now that you've actually sat down and watched the match, what did you think of the whole thing?
I'll break it down into 3 pieces. As a television drama, that was beautiful.
Yes.
The whole lead up to that, as silly as it may be, looking at it as a television drama, beautiful. Backyard wrestling, beautiful. The start of the match had a little weird spots, which you were even saying too to me when we were watching it. But all around, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm buying this. I'm buying everything. TV drama / backyard wrestling. Just 2 brothers fighting while mom's out getting groceries. As a real wrestling match, I didn't know it was actually on TNA. You guys had to tell me that. It didn't look real in the aspect of live entertainment. And I guess that's what I have to say.
Well, that's not the
Final
point.
Deletion.
It was a segment, right? It was.
Yeah.
It felt like I said earlier. I felt like a TV action sequence. It didn't really feel like a.
It wasn't wrestling. I shouldn't say it wasn't wrestling. It just didn't feel like
The wrestling, like I said, the wrestling itself there were some good spots in it. Like there was some good wrestling that was happening.
Didn't like the end. I can admit that to you guys.
Yeah.
Him falling off the top, I really thought it would have been like, don't hit all your finishers at the beginning. Save that for the end. But hey, lighting their symbol on fire to signify the brothers are done. Matt owns the name. Screw you, Jeff. But poor Senior.
Senior Benjamin.
Senior Benjamin.
Senior Benjamin. And it is something real quick. I popped like crazy because I didn't notice this before. I didn't notice that Maxwell has the exact same hair as Mac. I didn't realize that they dyed his hair in the middle to match Matt. I didn't notice that.
No?
I was like, yo, that's awesome. I didn't mention that earlier.
Dad?
Yeah, I was just like, yo, that's insane. But kind of before we were interrupted by the heel here, when he showed up, me and Brandon, we're just going to quickly talk about where we think that kind of almost a little tiny bit of fantasy booking. We're just getting ready to head out here to the show. But Brandon, what do you think is going to happen here now? Like,
I think he just sets up a Willow Matt Hardy feud now. Because like you said, Jeff, all this match did was not allow Jeff Hardy to use the Hardy name anymore. So there's only one way I could see Jeff Hardy going after this.
And it's going to be, he's going to come back as Willow. And I like Willow, too. Yeah. Like, I think it's a sweet gimmick. I really like, I hadn't seen a lot of Willow.
Yeah.
But even rewatching it again now, I'm like, yeah, that spot with Willow was really cool.
Yeah.
I really, really liked it. I think it's safe to say that, next week on TNA, or this week, next week, we'll probably see Matt come in and he'll cut a bit of a promo. He'll probably be interrupted by Willow on the Titantron or something like that. And,
yeah.
Brother Nero may be gone, but I'm not. Whatever the hell he does. I can't imitate him, but it definitely is going to be very interesting. I like I was saying earlier, if this is the last kind of gimmick / segment / storyline we're going to see from Matt Hardy, okay. It'll bum me out because I would rather see Matt Hardy kind of go out.
Goes out on a high note, though.
Yeah, because they're going to get all this hype, and then they're going to go, all right, we're done. I feel like this is a storyline Matt's had in his mind forever.
I feel like it too.
Yeah, definitely be interesting. But we are actually going to just call it a day here, guys. We're getting ready to head to the Heatwave SummerSlam show in Oshawa here just very shortly. We will definitely be doing a podcast on that probably next week. But we will catch up with you guys a little later. Thank you, Brandon, for doing the kind of almost review with me. Thank you, Ryan, for showing up. Thank you for showing up and giving your thoughts. Yeah, it was good for you to sit down and watch the match. And what do you think? I know you don't really keep up with TNA that much, but what do you think is going to happen with the whole thing now?
At this point in time, Vince McMahon is licking his lips. Jeff Hardy's returning to the WWE. No, I'm totally kidding.
I think McMahon saw it, and that's why he set up this compound match with the Wyatts and the New Day.
Personally, I would almost want to see shortly the Hardys retire. This, like you guys are saying, this is a good way. It's the brother rivalry. After this rivalry, one of them bows out and just be like, okay, I'm done. The other one shortly after.
Yeah, I could see it leading up to a retirement match.
It could happen. Like, it just leads up to a retirement match. It's a great match. They have the match of their careers. They're going on a high note. Everything's cool.
Yeah.
So I think we can agree with that. But in the end, I think all three of us like the match. Right? We can all say we all like the segment. Brandon, if you had to give it a rating out of 10?
I give it... It's a hard match. I give it an 8.5, just because, like, there was some things that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But it was so entertaining.
From an pure entertainment, awesome standpoint, an 8.5, Ryan?
Entertainment, 8 for the match. A little less because people are going to look at it, well, it was either great or not defense. So as a backyard wrestling, I'd say 8 all around.
Yeah, I'd say I'd give the whole thing an 8.5 as well. Really enjoyed it. I was really glad that that went the way it did. Everything went down. I'm glad that we had time to sit down and do this today because I wanted to get some thoughts out about it, and I didn't want to do it alone. So I'm glad I could do it with you guys. So thank you guys. We are going to now head to Oshawa for the wrestling show. So I will catch you guys a little later.
What's up, guys? Long time no talk. I probably should end it off better, but whatever. As you could tell, we were kind of rushing near the end there. It was we were supposed to be. The show started about 7:30, and it was just after 5 there now. We had to pick up some people and do some stuff, so we were in a bit of a hurry. So I apologize, guys, that the podcast isn't usually as long as usual. I know some people have said to me in the past that they like the fact that it's usually always an hour, but we're close enough, so we're gonna run with it. I was thinking of BSing my way through like a really long 10-minute intro and outro, but I think that's kind of cheating. So I just figure I'll just say what I normally have to say and just be on my way. So that rhymed. Look at that. I'm a rapper. I'm goofy. So very cool stuff. Again, be sure to check out that Final Deletion match. If you guys have not seen it for some reason, be sure to check it out. It is definitely worth it. If we didn't sell it to you, check it out. Honestly, as much as people have talked shit about it on the internet, give it a chance. Just watch the whole thing, start to finish, sit through it. And I promise you, if you understand what it is they're going for, you will enjoy it. So yeah, definitely check that out. And be sure to check out the Hardo Show Facebook page for the t-shirt pre-order. Let me know if you would like one. Be sure to follow Brandon on Twitter. You can find him at Your Average Noob, and as well as on Facebook under the same moniker. And you can find Ryan Wood if you so desire to follow him on Twitter for some reason, because he's a heel. If you guys saw the picture of him hitting me with a chair at the WWE live event that I posted on Facebook the other day. Not cool, Ryan. I'm so pissed at you for that, dude. You're an asshole. Hits me with a chair. But I got my comeuppance. If you guys saw the other photo I posted there, actually just tonight, you will see that I got my comeuppance on him. So it is okay. But had a blast about it. Again, we're going to do a podcast review on that most likely sometime next week. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll just kind of see what happens. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, no matter how you're doing it, whether you're listening on the SoundCloud. If you are listening on the SoundCloud, be sure to hit that follow button. I will always follow you back, of course. When you follow me, when you follow The Harder Show on SoundCloud, you'll be able to keep up with everything The Harder Show does on SoundCloud in your news feed. You won't even have to think twice about it. Be sure to hit that like button and comment your little heart away. I always love to talk to you guys about anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I love to interact with you guys in the chats and the comment sections and all that kind of bullshit. So be sure to do that. If you are listening on the YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You know how much I appreciate that, guys. The more subscribers I have, the better The Harder Show does in the listings and so forth. So the better The Harder Show does, the more work I can put into these things, basically, is how that works. So be sure to do that. Be sure to hit the like or dislike button, depending on how you feel about this podcast here today. Be sure to comment your life away. I'm hoping some people will comment about the whole Brother Nero thing and the whole Final Deletion thing and our opinion on it, because our opinion is actually the least popular one. Everyone, for the most part, from what I've seen, did not like this match on the internet. So I'm glad to be the the opposition on this, so to speak. So be sure to do that if you're on the YouTube. And last but not least, if you are listening on the iTunes, which you guys know is the easiest way to listen to the Harder Show, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that literally you will wake up in the morning or you wake up in the afternoon, whatever. You will turn on your phone or iPod or iPad or Mac and you will have the Harder Show ready to go downloading as you listen to other episodes of the Harder Show. So definitely be sure to do that. Be sure to give the Harder Show a rating. I'm not going to sit here and ask you to give me a 5-star rating. Obviously, I'd appreciate that, but give me whatever rating you want. You know, if there's some things you want to see me do differently, let me know. You know, I'm not someone who cannot take a little bit of constructive criticism, as long as it's constructive. If you're just like, yo, dude, your podcast sucks, bruh. It's like, come on, at least think of something clever to say to back that up with. But be sure to do that. Be sure to leave a rating. Always appreciate it, guys. And with that, I'm going to stop rambling on here, and I am going to go watch some wrestling because I am just in a wrestling mood as of right now. So I will catch you guys next time on The Harder Show. Take it easy.